Want to create a stunning interactive menu that you can embed in your website or share as a QR code with your clients? You are in the right place. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm Yalda, and today I'll show you how to design an interactive menu using Figma's free starter plan. Let's get started. First, we need to upload pictures into our design file. You can use the toolbar to insert images like this, but I'm gonna grab all the images for our first category, cocktails, and just drag them into the design. I like doing it this way because it gives us more control over the order of the picture. Now I'm gonna remove the spaces between the images, select all of them, and apply auto layout. Then let's rename the frame to cocktail. We've got 3 other categories to do, so I'm gonna fast forward and repeat the process for each one. I'd like to change the order of the hot drinks. First, let's apply auto layout and rename the frame. Now I'm just gonna use the arrow keys to move the images into the order I want. Let's move the coffees to the top and put the tea pictures right after them. Perfect. Now let's move on to the menu items. I'm gonna grab all the text that we have here in the starter file and create a component. I'm gonna name it menu items. We'll use this component on all the pages. Let's also go ahead and add variants for each category. In this variant, let's hide drinks. Then I'm gonna grab the cocktail and change the size to 48. And let's make it bold. I think it looks prettier if I move this text a little bit to the right and maybe down. Finally, I'll change the opacity to 100%. I'm gonna fast forward and repeat this process for the other 3 categories. Oh wait, I forgot to rename the variants. So let's select each one and give them the proper names. The first one is cocktails, the second is smoothies, then cold brews, and finally hot drinks. There you go. Just to keep things tidy, I'm going to use the section tool to group all the images into one section. Let's name it drinks. Then I'm going to grab each image frame and turn them into components. This will make it easier to reuse them later. Now I'm going to go to the assets panel and insert the menu items component into the first frame. Then I'm gonna copy the menu items, select all the category frames and paste them. This way we can make sure that our menu items are in the exact same spot on every page. Now we can update each frame's component to the matching category variant. I'm gonna set the cocktails variant on the first page, smoothies on the second, and so on. Since we are using the free version of Figma, we don't have access to some advanced prototyping features. For example, we can add more than one interaction to a single element, and we can use conditional visibility. Because of this, we'll need to create separate pages for some interactions. If you are using Pro Plan, you could simplify this whole design by using multiple interactions and conditional visibility. Let me know in the comments if you want a tutorial with the Pro version. Alright, let's move on to adding photos to our menu pages. I'm going to use the image tool to upload the photo for the first frame. In the starter file, we've already got one frame for each category. For the other pages, I'll insert the image components that we created earlier. Now, if you're using the starter file, you'll see that each category frame has auto layout applied. So once we add the images, to have a proper layout, we need to go to the property panel and change the gap between objects. And I'm gonna repeat this process for the other 3 pages. Next, we're gonna create variants to show a larger version of each drink when we click on it. So I'm gonna go back to the image component and add a new variant. In this variant, I'll remove all the images except the one I want to enlarge. Then I'm gonna disable auto layout, resize the frame, and upload a high quality version of the photo. Just make sure to optimize your images before uploading them to Figma. This keeps your file lightweight and easy to work with. Now we need some arrows for navigation. I'm gonna search for an arrow in the Assets panel, pick one, and insert it into the design file. Then I'll rotate and resize it and drag it into the variant. Let's duplicate the arrow, mirror it, and use it as a back button. Okay, let's move on to the next trick. If we select a component and add another variant, the default variant will be copied, and we have to do all the process from scratch for each image. But let's undo it. I'm gonna grab the adjusted variant, click on the plus button and duplicate it. Double click on the image and replace it with another cocktail picture. Easy, right? Okay, we need to repeat this process for all other thumbnails. So I'm gonna fast forward to save time. Now it's time to add some animations to our design. We're gonna switch to prototype mode and I'm gonna start with the smoothies category. Let's grab the thumbnail picture and connect it to the related larger photo. I think instant animation would work fine for this interaction. Now let's connect all the other thumbnails to their corresponding large pictures. Next, we need to connect the large pictures back to their thumbnails. This way, when we click on the large image, it will go back to the first variant and show all the thumbnail again. For this interaction, the trigger should be on click and I'm gonna use a smart animation with an ease out curve and a duration of 300 milliseconds. I'll repeat the same setting for the other 3 pictures. Now we need to set up interactions for the two arrows so we can switch between pictures. For the first picture, we don't need a back button. So let's go back to the design and hide the back arrow in the appearance panel. Next, we'll go back to the prototype mode and connect each arrow to navigate between the next and previous pictures. I'm gonna use the same interaction settings we used earlier. For the last picture, we don't need the next arrow, so let's hide it as well. Let's go back to the preview and check it again. Good. Everything is working exactly as it's supposed to. We need to do the same process for the other components. This means adding the interactions, connecting thumbnails, and setting up navigation arrows for each category. If your component has a lot of variants and it gets hard to manage, here's a trick. You can resize the variants window to make it bigger. And I also expand the section to make sure the component stays inside it. Then we can just grab the variants and move them up to make everything easier to manage. Let's set a flow just for the cocktail page to see how everything is working so far. Great, it's looking good. Alright, now that we are done with the interactions between the variants, it's time to connect the pages. To do that, I'm gonna go to the menu item component and link each item to its corresponding page. This way, when you click on a menu item, it will take you to the correct category. Now let's delete this initial flow we set up for the cocktail page. I'm gonna create a new flow for the entire menu instead. I'll set the first page as the starting frame and set up the new flow from here. Let's preview it. Everything is working perfectly. Let's turn off the grids and I'm gonna add a stroke to the thumbnails to give them a polished look. For consistency, I'll adjust the height of the smoothies thumbnail to match the height of the cocktails thumbnail. Then I'll set the auto layout alignment to the center. I'll repeat this same process for the cold brews and hot drinks thumbnail. Okay, let's check the preview again. Everything looks great. Oh, but hold on, there's a problem here. Let's figure out what's going on. If you remember, we adjusted the height of the thumbnails directly in the pages. That means we changed the instance, not the main component. So we'll need to go back to the main component and fix it there. I'm gonna make one more design tweak. Let's change the corner radius of the thumbnails to 20 and clip content. This will give our thumbnails a more rounded and modern look. Now that everything is ready, we can export it. In the preview window, click on Share. From here, you've got a couple of options. You can copy the link to generate a QR code, or click on Embed Code, copy the code and paste it into your HTML file. You can also use this with website builders like Wix, WordPress, or any other platform that supports HTML. And that's it. Your interactive menu is now ready to share or embed. I hope you learned something new from this tutorial. I'll be back with more Figma tutorials every week. So please take a few seconds to subscribe and hit the like button if you found this helpful. Drop your questions or suggestions in the comments. I love hearing from you. And I'd really appreciate it if you could share this video with your friends and colleagues who might find it helpful. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, elevate and create.